A poker player who is nicknamed the Professor seems a bit of a stretch, no? But there's a whole story behind this name and a whole world of controversy that we will unravel in this video. This is the story of Howard the Professor Lederer, his rise in the poker world, and his fall from grace, which resulted in his seemingly permanent disappearance from the big stage. It all started when Howard decided to launch a poker site. Full Tilt Poker was one of the first big online poker sites, and it hosted much of the early high-stakes activity. Howard Lederer and his partner Ray Bitar launched the site in 2004, and brand advocates included Phil Ivey, Gus Hansen, and Chris Ferguson. FTP was the world's second largest online poker site in early 2011, trailing only its major rival, POKERSTAR. It all came to an abrupt halt in April 2011, when the catastrophe known as Black Friday shocked the poker community and forever altered online poker. FTP and POKERSTAR both accepted action and monetary transactions from American customers, despite U.S. laws forbidding such activity. As a result, the U.S. Department of Justice moved to crack down on the operations in a very serious police action that saw people like Lederer accused of money laundering, conducting a Ponzi scheme, and other charges. The U.S. government also targeted Lederer and Ferguson, bringing legal proceedings against them for their roles in Full Tilt Poker management. The room was accepting American deposits that they couldn't process, and overall acting outside the parameters of any legitimate business. However, the actual extent to which Lederer was involved in all of this is uncertain to this day, with his associate Ray Bitar being cited as the mastermind behind the operations. These occurrences nearly bankrupted Full Tilt Poker when it was revealed that they didn't have enough cash to refund player balances due to funds intercepted by the U.S. government or stolen by unscrupulous payment processors. There's also a major question mark over the $440 million in payouts handed to Full Tilt owners in previous years, with some suggesting it was player money. Full Tilt Poker had to shut down operations due to a significant cash crisis, leaving player accounts frozen and locked on the site. Lederer set to work to locate a buyer to take over the struggling company and provide the finances needed to reimburse the players. This continued for more than a year, leaving players unable to retrieve their funds. Eventually, an agreement was reached between Full Tilt Poker, the U.S. Department of Justice, and POKERSTAR, in which Lederer and the other Full Tilt owners relinquished their assets to the U.S. DOJ, and POKERSTAR purchased the company for $731 million. In the end, everything worked out well somehow. The US DOJ received a fine for the alleged illegal activities, the players received their money back, though some US players are still waiting for the DOJ to repay their balances, and POKERSTAR earned a lot of respect in the poker world for rescuing Full Tilt Poker and paying all of its players. Since then, POKERSTAR has relaunched Full Tilt Poker, which is once again one of the world's biggest poker sites, second only to their parent organization. Lederer settled his civil suit with the United States government in December 2012, surrendering properties and cash worth tens of millions of dollars. After the company's takeover was completed in September 2012, Howard offered an interview series to Poker News titled The Lederer Files, in which he broke his silence about all that had happened. Lederer made just over $6.5 million in poker tournaments over 20 years. However, this was only a small part of his overall wealth. Full Tilt Poker's success led to many key players being paid millions or even tens of millions of dollars over its 7 years. Lederer forfeited only $2.5 million in his plea deal with the DOJ. It's unknown how much money he may have made over the years or what other investments he may have made. Based on Lederer's profile and history, it's a fair guess to put his net worth in the $25 million zone, which could be a massive underestimate. Lederer's last known appearance in the poker world came in 2016 when he issued a public apology and tried to return to the scene. However, he was treated poorly by many players in Vegas, who had thousands or even millions of dollars still stuck at Full Tilt Poker. Lederer decided to retire from professional poker and never appeared again in official poker games. His 2011 scores remain the last recorded online, as his 2016 cameo at the Felt was not successful. But he wasn't always a failure. He also saw a peak of success in his poker career. So let's take it from the top to see how it started. The Professor grew up in Concord, New Hampshire, along with his sister Annie Duke. They learned to play cards at a young age thanks to their father, Richard Lederer. Richard was a competitive person, and this trait of his was quickly passed on to Howard and Annie. He was scheduled to attend Columbia College in New York City, but he chose to take a year off to pursue his dream of becoming a professional chess player. During this year, while pursuing his chess goal, he discovered the Mayfair Club in New York. This renowned club produced many amazing poker players, and it was the very reason he got into the world of poker. During this time, he was specifically introduced to Texas Hold'em, the game that was rapidly taking over the modern poker world. Lederer quickly joined an elite group of players that arose at this club. The members of this group would play poker all evening, then head to the bar and drink while discussing the evening's games and improved tactics. He was playing in larger stakes games by the end of the 1980s, having outgrown the games where he had previously played regularly. At this point, he relocated to Las Vegas in search of higher stakes games. Of course, his relocation to Vegas was not a hasty one. He began playing poker competitively in numerous New York poker clubs, including the Mayfair Club, which was highly popular at the time. There were many successes in his poker career. After finishing 5th in the main event of the World Series of Poker in 1987, Lederer felt it was time to start taking his poker career seriously. His career took off after he moved to Sin City, even though poker was not as popular there. Lederer would eventually contribute to its success during the poker boom. Around this time period, he also taught his sister Annie how to play poker, who later moved to Las Vegas with her husband. Annie has gone on to become one of the most successful female poker players of all time, and Howard and Annie are the only brother-sister combo to reach the same World Series of Poker final table. This legendary poker player earned the nickname The Professor due to his analytical and mathematical approach to poker, which was most likely influenced by his background as a championship-level chess and backgammon player, which provided him with a solid foundation for this style of play. Despite being called the Professor and being regarded as one of the most intelligent and clever players around, Lederer never returned to college after taking a year off. During the 1990s, this poker player with analytical skills became a fearsome opponent and was well known throughout the poker world. During this time, Lederer won big at high-stakes cash games and secured a stable financial future for his family. Lederer rose to prominence in the public eye in 2002 when he shifted his focus from cash games to major tournaments during the poker boom. He won 2 World Poker Tour events in 2002 and 2003, both at the height of the WPT's popularity. The $10,000 World Poker Finals at Foxwoods Resort in Connecticut in 2002 and the Party Poker Million in 2003. He was also named WPT Player of the Year during the tour's first season. He established himself as a smart businessman as well as a world-class poker player, and he enhanced his reputation and off-the-table work by creating a series of instructional poker DVDs and appearing as a commentator and expert on numerous poker shows. But now all his successes are down the drain because of the reckless decisions he made. It may take some time before Lederer is allowed back into the poker community. He has been seen playing at private tables in Las Vegas casinos on several occasions, but he has yet to be forgiven for his role in Full Tilt Poker's mismanagement. Who knows, maybe he'll return one day, but for the time being, he has avoided huge poker tournaments and events.